Welcome back, everybody. This is All Star Productions, and it's time for day 14 of the Wmma6 Developers Journal. The momentum from days 11 through 13 was already pretty big, and I went through that. I told you guys at that video that I'm feeling good again. I'm feeling locked in. We're energized, and we are so back. So we're deep into the second half now, into the end of the third quarter almost. This is the second to last day of the week, and this is where the updates continue on stacking to becoming the most polished, refined parts of the game. Day 14 will keep it going with more realism, more depth, and more of the little details. That's going to make WMMA6 feel a little bit even more of a true evolution for the series. So let's dive in and keep this train rolling. First of all, let's talk about what he said here. He said, posted on July 27th, Adam Ryland of Grey Dog Software said, "Welcome to the WMMA6 Developers Journal. For those who haven't been with us for previous versions, the purpose of the journal is to reveal all the new features and modifications that will appear in the game, so that way you know what to expect before release. There will be a new entry every weekday for the next 4 weeks. Before we start with today's first entry, here is an FAQ to bring everyone up to speed with the basis of the project. I already went through the frequently asked questions in a previous video, and I went through a lot more stuff within the developers journal in previous episodes. So we'll just get into day 14 right here, right now. I cannot wait. Let's do it. The first one was number 86, the quick tournaments. Tournaments can now be held via the quick fight section on the title screen, so outside of a save game environment. Previously, only individual bouts could be held this way, whether it's 4 or 8 fighter formats that could be used. Additionally, it can either be set to a multi-night or single night. Now, this doesn't really affect anything overall, like in terms of uh like the how you would book like a company, but it is kind of a nice feature that is being added. Um, that way, we get a little bit of a feel of how tournaments can go around too, without necessarily having to go into a whole uh, new universe for it. Sorry, guys, but it gives people a little bit of a more of an understanding too of how the game works without necessarily getting too deep into it. And now we've got for number 87 tournament naming. AI one night tournaments are no longer limited in their naming conventions and can use regular show numbers. For example, if you were running a real world database of early UFC, then you could have their tournaments follow the UFC 1 or UFC 2, etc. naming pattern rather than them previously being called UFC Heavyweight Tournament and not really using numbers. This was requested by some people to allow mods to follow reality a little bit more closely. This is kind of a nice thing, but it's not really anything too crazy special, except for those that want to go real deep into the historical saves. But it's a nice feature. There's not really a whole lot to say about it, but it's a nice thing that they added. Continuing on with the tournaments, we've got AI tournament matchmaking for number 88. By request, when AI companies hold one night tournaments, they will now use a seeding system to spread out the competitors. This avoids the situation that could arise in previous games where the randomized nature of the brackets could mean one half of the draw is completely stacked with highly ranked talent compared to the other, and you'd end up with mismatches in the final. This is also kind of a nice addition. That way, things are. That way, the AI is a little bit smarter in how they do the matchmaking. It is very important to note here, though, that this is only for the AI companies within the game. So it does make things a little bit more freshened up. But for the most part, it's more of a cosmetic. You could say it adds a little bit of competition as well for that because the tournament matchmaking is kind of important if you want to have a stacked tournament. And less mismatches. So speaking of tournaments, we've got for number 89 the Grand Prix enhancement too. Companies are no longer limited to holding one Grand Prix / one night tournament a year. And additionally, there are new settings that can be modified via narratives if needed that allow a company to function in either entirely via Grand Prix events, i.e., they don't hold any regular non-tournament events at all, or to switch back and forth over time. This is definitely a nice feature because I do know of one content creator. I'm not going to name names, but there was one content creator who wanted this change to happen because I know some people really like to do their Grand Prix or they like to do their tournaments in general. So being able to do something like that where you could hold multiple different championship tournaments or honestly in general just have different Grand Prix or different one night tournaments as well. So it's a nice change. I'm pretty oh, sorry about that. I'm gonna drink my ultraviolet monster. But yeah, no, it's a pretty nice change that they're doing there. And honestly, I'm just happy that um, Grand Prix are getting an enhancement, or one night tournaments too, I should say. And now for number 90, we've got post tournament releases. Prior Quest, the AI has been upgraded to be better at recognizing when a fighter has had a good but unsuccessful run in a one night tournament. So the fact that their last fight ended in a loss is taken within the context that they also won fights that night. Previously, only the result of their most recent fight was taken into account, so that could lead to people getting cut despite objectively doing well. There was a complaint that some people had, but at the same time, um, it did make for some pretty cool shakeups within certain rosters. So I mean, it was pretty cool at the same time to see that, and it was very much like, "What, you cut this dude?" or "What, you cut this girl? You're crazy." But at other times, it was like, "Yeah, this was kind of a weird decision, but here we are." And sometimes you didn't really care, but uh, the AI being smarter about this too is something that I knew about too. I knew that was gonna. Well, I didn't know about the change, but I knew the request was a thing. Um, so it's nice that their Grey Dog software, anyway, is taking this into consideration and have added this as a new feature. Um, but without any further ado, let's now get into 91 old one night tournaments. As it was requested quite a lot, past one night tournaments can now be viewed via the user. Excuse me, can be can now be viewed by the user via the tournaments section of their office. Apparently, I can't read. Previously, this data was only available by navigating to the event in question and reading the results directly. Additionally, search facilities have been added to make it easier to navigate to this screen. This kind of makes sense, but I also figured they would add the search stuff because I know this isn't necessarily the same, but they added being able to search up stuff within the handbook, which was talked about in a previous video. If you want to check that out. Um, but I did not know that this was a request. I probably should have. I figured that people were wanting to be able to look at the past one night tournaments because in the past, in past games you were able to look at them, sort of, but mostly only through like the history of the shows. So it wasn't really much of a way to look at the one night tournaments either. There was a way, but it was very tedious, and a lot of times you weren't necessarily sure if the one night tournament uh, ended up being a part of history. But now you can look into it a little bit easier. So it's a little bit of it's mostly a quality of life upgrade, but I still think it's a pretty nice feature that they're adding into it. Because I know a lot of people like me, I love to talk about like the history of things too. And I know a lot of content creators do as well. They like to dive deep into the history of things to kind of build up for future events taking place. And I kind of do that too. So it's a nice feature. It's a really nice feature. Now we're going into number 92, which is AI tournament history. As we talk about history of one night tournaments, AI companies now have a tournament section in their profile where the user can browse past results for multi night and one night tournaments, together with also having useful search facilities. Previously, only player controlled companies had access to tournament data, but now we have access to uh, more than just player controlled companies, which is nice. It's a nice feature. You can kind of look into what happened in the past for previous tournaments that happened for AI controlled companies. So it's a nice feature, but again, kind of more of a cosmetic thing than anything. But the history buffs are going to love this. So there is that for you. Going into number 93 is the tournament randomizer. As a quality of life upgrade, when putting together a tournament, the user now has access to new controls that allow the competitors involved to be filled in randomly from a specified set of fighters, such as specific weight class, for the brackets to be randomized and for the selection to be cleared. These simply make the creation of tournaments more user-friendly. Holy moly, this is great news. I am very happy that this is a change that's actually happening. I was a little bit worried about this being potentially a statement that wasn't going to happen, but here we are, and I'm very happy about it. And yeah, I probably will end up using this feature quite a lot. And it's a very nice quality of life upgrade that's being done here. But now we're going into 94, extended short namespace. By request from a couple of mod makers, the maximum number of characters that could be used for a company's short name has been extended to 15 to allow for some real world companies to be better modeled, which I think is pretty cool. But I don't really have much else to say about this because there isn't really much else to say about it, in my opinion. It's cool. It's a nice feature, but that's kind of it. There isn't really much else to it. So I'm just going to move on to the last. Whoops. I am just going to move on to the last feature that was revealed for tonight's episode, number 95, locked regions. By request from one specific mod maker, regions can now be set as locked. This meaning that their regulation status will never change. This will apparently be useful for some fantasy mods. Jesus Christ. I think it's funny that Adam Reitland had to say that it would apparently be useful. like he just is like, yeah, I don't know about this, but I'm gonna add it anyway. like, okay, the specific mod maker, if you're watching this video or have seen this feature, I think Adam Ryland might end up having some sort of beef with you. Maybe you two should get down into the octagon and battle it out. Adam Ryland versus that specific mod maker. Battle it out. I'm sorry, but Adam Ryland's probably going to win by decision. That'd be a pretty cool fight to watch. Somebody should have it be a thing. So, Dana White, book it. Book it on UFC. But, I'm very happy that this is. I guess I'm happy this is happening. No, I'm just kidding. It is cool that this is being done. It also goes to show how awesome Adam Ryland is. and Great Dog Software in general is. We love you, Great Dog Software. You're pretty awesome to be able to do stuff just because one person requested it. But anyways, this is a pretty cool feature, and allows now for regions to not change whether or not they are regulated. Or if they're illegal. That's another thing too. Yeah, it is more of a fantasy mod thing, but it's also something that could potentially be used within real world mods too. I agree. I do see this being more of a fantasy mod type of deal, but you never know. I'm sure there will be people out there that actually use this feature. I might end up using this feature too, though. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I do plan on eventually doing a video for Wmma6 about all the new features that have been added as well, and messing around with those new features. I do plan on doing something like that. So there is that too. But that's going to wrap up day 14 of the Wmma6 Developers Journal. Another day, another batch of upgrades that keep shaping up this game into something special. And thank you all for hanging out with me through another round of the breakdowns. So if you do like this video, make sure to hit the like button. And if you have any questions or anything, any comments, concerns, anything at all, you can let me know in the comments down below. I'm willing to respond and I'm willing to have a conversation. It doesn't even have to necessarily be related to this. I got other series that I'm doing as well within TW9, Wmma6, and I have a TW 2020 series that I have in the works. So stay tuned. But I'll see you guys next time. Stay strong, stay sharp, stay focused, and remain the all-stars that you are. Peace out, everyone.